Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my top 30 favourite movies from the year 2017. These are all in accordance with the release dates from IMDb, and of course there's no right or wrong to this list. These are just my top 30 personal favourite movies from the year 2017. So that being said, I've got quite a large amount of honourable mentions to get through, so I'm going to kick that off first with my first one, which is Disobedience. I thought this was a fantastic drama film with Rachel Weisz and Rachel McAdams. Really, really good. Next up, got The Hitman's Bodyguard. Not a great movie, but entertaining all the same, with a great cast to it. Ridley Scott's All the Money in the World. I enjoyed it for what it was. It had some production issues, of course, with the sacking of Kevin Spacey and bringing in Christopher Plummer, but for what it was a good Ridley Scott film. Next up, we've got Goodbye Christopher Robin. I enjoyed it, great cast. Just the movie was a little bit bloated for my liking. Next up, we've got the massively underrated The Hero with Sam Elliott. I absolutely enjoyed the performances in this movie. I thought it was just absolutely great, just didn't quite make the list for me. Same can be said for this next one, Battle of the Sexes with Emma Stone and Steve Carell. Emma Stone's going from strength to strength in my opinion. Just absolutely brilliant. Loving some of the work she's churning out lately. Next up, a film in my opinion that's a little bit overrated, The Greatest Showman. I enjoyed it for what it was. I like the music in this movie. But yeah, I don't think it's like the masterpiece people are making it out to be. Next up, we've got The Florida Project. I enjoyed this sort of little gritty movie. Really enjoyed the ending to this too. It's fully worth checking out and I fully recommend it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Next up, we've got a great Tom Cruise movie. Went massively under the radar in my opinion. And it's American made. I really enjoyed this. Thought it was just so much fun. And yeah, just great to see Tom Cruise in that type of role. Next up, we've got Good Time with Robert Pattinson. Great to see him shaking off the dust of the Twilight movies and him actually doing some proper decent movies and churning out some good work. And Good Time was a really good film. Next up, we've got Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal, about this guy who lost his legs in the Boston Marathon bombing. Great drama film that I really enjoyed. Next up, we've got Atomic Blonde, Charlize Theron. Sort of like the female John Wick this, but I really enjoyed it. It's some great action scenes in it and a great cast behind it too. Another sort of underrated film in my opinion, it's a great western. Christian Bale and Rosamund Pike in Hostiles. I really enjoyed this film, thought it was really good. The movie looks absolutely brilliant too. Another underrated film in my opinion, and it's a Blu-ray import I've got because I don't think it's out here in the UK on Blu-ray, and it's Ingrid Goes West. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was just such a quite a creepy movie at times about Audrey Plaza who ends up following Elizabeth Olsen like on Instagram and sort of like becoming a cyber stalker and sort of worming her way into her life. Got Wyatt Russell in there as well. Doesn't deserve the hate he's getting for Falcon and Winter Soldier in my opinion. But yeah, I check this movie out if you've not seen it. Next up, we've got The Wife, Glenn Close and Jonathan Pryce. Absolute powerhouse performances from these two actors. I really enjoyed it. Had a great story to it as well. Next up, we've got Spielberg's The Post. Didn't enjoy this one as much as I would have liked to. But it's got some great performances in it and a great story. Next up, we've got Life. Great cast to this one. Great little underrated sci-fi movie. I don't think it's fantastic, but there's a lot of potential to it. Next up, we've got Wonder Woman. Finally getting to see Wonder Woman brought to the big screen, and the movie didn't disappoint in my opinion. I really had a good time with Wonder Woman. Next up, Kong Skull Island. Human story-wise, not great, but if you just want to see Kong fighting monsters, it ticks all those boxes. Next up, this movie was massively fun in my opinion. The Lego Batman movie, just an absolute great time. Probably the best Justice League movie we got that year as well. But yeah, it's got some really clever jokes to it as well. And my last honourable mention for 2017 is Spider-Man Homecoming. I really enjoyed it. It just didn't quite make the list for me. Michael Keaton is absolutely brilliant as the Vulture in this. One of the best scenes in the MCU is that car scene. But yeah, really, really enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming. Right, so with those being my honourable mentions, I'm going to get straight into the main list now. And for me, coming in at number 30 is Phantom Thread with Daniel Day-Lewis. Absolutely fabulous performance by him. Believe this is his last film as he's retired from acting now. But it'd be great to see him come back. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie about this sort of stubborn fashion designer who has like his own ways and his own tics. How he wants to sort of make dresses. But Daniel Day-Lewis is the performance is the highlight in this film. Just absolutely great, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's coming up next for me at number 29 is Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour. Long overdue Oscar win, I think, for Gary Oldman. Absolutely brilliant as Winston Churchill in this film. Really, really enjoyed it. It's a sort of great World War II film as well. Doesn't focus mainly on the war itself, but just like the political side of it and what Churchill wanted to do is absolutely brilliant, and just such a great performance by him. My favourite scene in it is probably when he takes a train ride, and like all the sort of everyday folk just like end up talking to him. It's really, really good. Just check out Darkest Hour if you've not seen it. And coming up next for me at number 28 is Logan Lucky. Not the great comedy I sort of wanted it to be, but it's still a good time and it's still a lot of fun. Probably my favourite Daniel Craig film away from the James Bond. But just really, really enjoying this. Casting Channing Tatum and Adam Driver as two brothers was absolutely genius casting in my opinion. The two of them have just got this similar look in my opinion, and it just was such a brilliant idea to cast those two together. But yeah, it's a good time. Logan Lucky, it's fun. So coming up next to me at number 27 is Catherine Bigelow's Detroit. One of the most relevant films I've seen to date, I think, in its police brutality that it deals with. Will Poulter is absolutely brilliant in this film. He's just so despicable, but intimidating at the same time. John Krasinski's in there as well as the lawyer at the end. I really had a good time with it, as difficult as a watch as it could be. But yeah, really, really interesting story that I really, really dug, and I was just hooked with Detroit. I thought it was fantastic. So coming up next for me at number 26 is a sequel, and I think it's as good, if not better, than the original. And it's Paddington 2. This movie was a blast. I had so much fun with it. Hugh Grant as the villain in this, absolutely brilliant. I just enjoyed Paddington 2 so much. So much heart to it, so much charm. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. It's coming up next for me at number 25 is Wonder. This was a fantastic story. It's one of those movies, unfortunately, I had the most horrific cinema experience watching this. We had kids that just wouldn't shut up, countlessly being told to be quiet, and it just sort of like, that's going to ruin the film for you, unfortunately, whenever something like that happens. But the film itself is brilliant. Finally got the Blu-ray and watched it at home, and yeah, just hooked from start to finish. Absolutely touching film. Brilliant story, brilliant cast, brilliant acting. Really, really enjoyed Wonder. So coming up next to me at number 24 is the movie that actually won Best Picture this year, even though I think my number one pick should have won. And it's Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water. Visually, I think this film's a masterpiece, but I think the story's been done to death a little bit, to be honest. Performances in it are so good. Michael Shannon as the villain, Sally Hawkins as this sort of mute custodian who ends up coming across the creature and ends up sort of taking him home to try and set him free. Really gruesome scene with a cat as well. Richard Jenkins is in there as well, massively underrated actor. But yeah, I've got good things to say about it. The only thing I would say is the story isn't very fresh, but it's brilliant. So coming up next for me at number 23 is Only the Brave. I think this movie, again, is very underrated. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Following this true story about these forest firefighters, you just really, really understand the brotherhood between them. They're just really, really out for each other. And it led to this absolutely harrowing end. It looks absolutely great on Blu-ray. The effects in it are absolutely brilliant. Brilliant cast to it as well. Miles Teller, Jeff Bridges, Josh Brolin, Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, superb acting all around. It's a really, really good one. So, don't miss that one. Seek it out if you can. Right, coming up next for me at number 22 is The Big Sick. Massively, massively surprising little awkward comedy this that I really, really enjoyed. Ray Morano and Holly Hunter absolutely firing at all pistons for me. So good. Particularly this one scene where this jerk pipes up at a comedy gig. It was just so good. Based on a true story as well. Really, really enjoyed The Big Sick. Had a really, really good time with it. So coming up next for me at number 21 is Saoirse Ronan in Lady Bird. Fantastic little drama movie this that absolutely won me over. I went to the cinema to see it. Had such a good time with it. Just absolutely brilliant. You got Timothée Chalamet in there as well. Really, really enjoyed Lady Bird. Thought it was just an absolutely fantastic film. So check that one out if you've not seen it. Next up for me at number 20, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Some people are in the Volume 1 or the Volume 2 camp. I enjoyed both movies equally. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed Michael Rooker coming back as Yondu in this as well. Kurt Russell, of course, as Quill's dad. Really, really enjoyed this. Awesome soundtrack as well. Equally as good as the first one. And I just had a massive, massive, great time with Volume 2. So, yeah. Brilliant, brilliant film. So, coming up next for me at number 19 is Stephen King's It, Chapter 1 as it were. Yeah, again, I had a great time with this. I didn't really know what to think of it the first time I saw it, but on rewatch, I enjoyed it. It's very, very entertaining. I think I'm in the camp where I sort of benefit from not having read the book, probably because it just deviates too much. But the movie itself, I really, really enjoyed. I have a soft spot for the TV miniseries. Of course, everyone's of the opinion that the first half's always better than the second, and I think the movies themselves follow suit too, as well, to be honest. First part, absolutely brilliant. Some really, really good jump scares in there as well, and I had just an absolute blast with this movie. It was just so much fun. So, coming up next for me at number 18 is Molly's Game with Jessica Chastain and Idris Elba. It sort of follows this character called Molly Bloom, who's had pretty much a career path set out as a professional skier. But of course she had this accident which led that not to becoming it wasn't going to happen. And it sort of ended up with her ending up running this illegal gambling ring underground. Very, very tight-knit group of people were included in it. And yeah, it was just fantastic to see all these gambling scenes and great characters in this movie. I just had an absolute blast of it as well. Kevin Costner as well shows up there as a dad. Really, really enjoyed Molly's Game. Just thought it was, just a fun movie. It's coming up next for me at number 17. John Wick Chapter 2. This just cranks up the action from the first one. Really, really enjoy the John Wick films. I think all three of them are home runs, to be honest. Just massively, massively entertaining. Great action films. Great role as well for Keanu Reeves. It just really, really suits him, in my opinion. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. Just thought it was a brilliant, brilliant sequel. So, yeah, check out the John Wick films. Right, so coming up next to me at number 16 is a movie I consider to be massively underrated. It's just superb. Coming out when Chris Evans was at the height of his Captain America fame. And it's Gifted. This is just a fantastic drama movie I really, really enjoyed, about this uncle who's looking after his sister's daughter. And she has this sort of real clever ability to her. She can solve like math problems really, really quickly. And it's sort of about people wanting to sort of put her in the right place where she can reach her maximum potential and what was best for her. But yeah, I just thought this was a fabulous, fabulous drama. So underrated. Great cast to it as well. You've got Octavia Spencer in there too. Really, really enjoyed Gifted. So fully recommend checking it out. Next up at number 15 for me is Jordan Peele's Get Out. This was one of those movies that was a massive surprise and wasn't expecting it to go the way it went. Enjoyed the hell out of it. Thought it had a great story, great ending. Really, really enjoyed Get Out. Daniel Kaluuya is just one of these actors who is really, really impressing me lately, particularly with stuff in Widows and Judas and the Black Messiah. I really, really enjoy those films. Him particularly in them, he's really, really impressing me with his acting ability. I enjoyed Get Out. Thought it was a fantastic, fantastic psychological thriller. I wouldn't go as far as to call it a horror, although there are some elements there that justify that. But it was just more of a psychological thriller for me. And I had a blast with Get Out. It's coming up next for me at number 14 is Ethan Hawke and Amanda Seyfried in First Reformed. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I thought it was a fantastic drama about this priest who's approached by this woman who's is pregnant, and she's told that her husband pretty much wants to have the baby aborted because he is such a pessimist and doesn't believe that there's anything good going on in the world right now. And they just sort of seek help from this priest, but I won't dare spoil what happens. It was just so interesting, and I enjoyed the hell out of First Reformed. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So if you can find it, check it out. Massively underrated in my opinion. So going up next for me at number 13 is a film that was nominated for Best Picture this year. It's Call Me By Your Name with Armie Hammer and Timothée Chalamet. Yeah, this was a great movie about falling in love for the first time, and yeah, it just won me over with the story and performances in this movie. Great setting as well, in the early 80s, set in Italy. I just had a wonderful time with Call Me By Your Name. Such a great movie. I'm going to repeat myself here. Great performances, great story. I don't want to talk too much about it, spoil it. But yeah, really, really enjoyed Call Me By Your Name. Fantastic film. Great looking too. So next up for me at number 12 is, again, probably a little underrated film that I know people haven't seen, but the people I know who have seen this have absolutely loved it. And it's Vince Vaughn in Brawl in Cell Block 99. I wasn't hooked straight away by this film. I thought the opening was a bit slow. But when this film gets going, it gets going. It's so over the top. It's so brilliant. I love the action sequences in it as well. It's just so good. Who the fuck knew Vince Vaughn had this in him? I certainly didn't. He is just an absolute brute. Built like a brick shithouse, and you just do not want to get on the wrong side of him. So good. I love Don Johnson in this as well. I won't get too much into his character, because I don't really want to spoil the film. But my word, this movie just escalates and it gets so interesting. So if you've not seen it, do yourself a favour, check out Brawl in Cell Block 99. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with it. Right, coming up next for me at number 11, arguably the best Thor film in everyone's opinion, I think, and it's Ragnarok. Taika Waititi injected the character and the movie, I think, with so much energy and colour that I think it really, really needed. And humour too. I mean, my God, that guy can do humour so well, in my opinion. Just recently rewatched Jojo Rabbit as well. Yeah, his films are just absolutely brilliant, and this is no exception. Love to see more from him and doing the MCU. Hopefully he's, fingers crossed everything goes well with the next Thor movie. But yeah, Thor Ragnarok was just a joy and such a pleasant rejuvenation of the character, as it were, given that the previous two weren't so good. But yeah, I think this movie is absolutely brilliant. Best Thor movie, in my opinion. Right, so coming up next for me at number 10 is Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. The only thing I'd have an issue with about this movie is there isn't really much of a plot. The plot basically is a collection of soldiers trying to get out of a horrible situation during the war. The movie itself is visually stunning. It's breathtaking how this movie looks. Great cast to it as well. Kenneth Branagh, Tom Hardy, Mark Rylance. Yeah, just I really enjoyed Dunkirk. It's the aesthetic look to the movie that is the shining star, and of course Christopher Nolan's direction as well. One of my favourite films by him. Wasn't too pretentious for me either. I really enjoyed Dunkirk and had a really good time with it. So yeah. Right, coming up next at number 9. War for the Planet of the Apes. Great round off to this new trilogy that I just enjoyed so much. All 3 movies in this trilogy are absolutely solid. My favourite being Dawn. It's a coin toss for me between Rise and War. But yeah, really good, solid trilogy. Andy Serkis is just absolutely on point in these films as Caesar. So good. Given so much to work with here. Woody Harrelson as the villain, I just absolutely hated in this film. Villain you love to hate, not that I hated his performance at all, no. That's what great villains do, I think, in my opinion. But aesthetically, again, the movie looks absolutely great. The apes put in this horrible situation where they have to work. It's brutal at times and it's just absolutely harrowing. But the ending to this, superb. Absolutely loved it. Really satisfying ending in my opinion, and justified too. So check out the new Planet of the Apes trilogy. It's absolutely brilliant. Really had a good time with it. Right, so coming up next for me at number 8 is pretty much a movie that's a bit of a slow burn, but visually I think this is a masterpiece. Blade Runner 2049. Got it on Steelbook here. It looks absolutely stunning. Such a good looking film. Just absolutely brilliant. As being a fan of the first one, because I absolutely love that film so much, it was just great to sort of get back to that universe and that world, and I just had an absolute ball with it. Ryan Gosling on point in this film. Harrison Ford too. Just great to see him come back. An absolute blast with Blade Runner. One of Denis Villeneuve's best movies. That guy hardly ever makes a bad film, in my opinion. His movies look absolutely great and they've got great stories to them too. But Blade Runner 2049, not one to be missed, in my opinion. So good. Right, coming up next to me at number 7 is Margot Robbie in I, Tonya. Sort of like a biopic about Tonya Harding, the ice skater, who's a bit unconventional and pissed off like a lot of judges and got involved in this scandal. And that movie is just so much fun. It's so much fun, the way it deals with this story. Fantastic casting there as well. As I said, Margot Robbie, Sebastian Stan, Alison Jennings, on point, fully worthy of the Oscar, in my opinion. I just had such a good time with I, Tonya. It made me laugh. It really put a smile on my face, this movie. And as I said, I just had such a good time with it. So fully recommend I, Tonya. Right, coming up next to me at number 6 is Disney Pixar's Coco. Didn't know what to expect going in with this movie. I wasn't really blown away by any of the trailers or anything like that. The story to this film, I think, is pretty much immaculate. It's superb. I really enjoyed it. About this boy who pretty much is forbidden from playing music, but that's all he wants to do. That's just what his heart tells him. He's just got such a burning passion to play for music, even though his family are completely 100% against it. And you find out why, and he sort of ends up being stuck in limbo and traveling to the sort of the world of the dead and meeting his ancestors. And he finds out a lot more about his history and to why, I won't spoil it, but why his family don't like music. And it had such a satisfying ending, and it's such a great story. So yeah, fully recommend Coco. It's just such a good time. Right, next up for me at number 5 is Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. Great looking steelbook. Absolutely love this film. It was a solid 9 out of 10 for me. My word, I just fell in love with this film. I thought it was so good. The editing in it is just absolutely brilliant. The story, the cast, really good. Sort of about this driver who pretty much is used for bank robbers as the getaway driver, working for Kevin Spacey. And every time he sort of has a job that he has to do, he sort of has this the music headphones that he puts in, and he just taps into his element then, and he just does his thing. It's so good. Jamie Foxx, John Hamm as well, absolutely intimidating as fuck in this movie, but I absolutely loved every second that they were on screen, and had an absolute blast with Baby Driver. Such a good film. Right, coming up next for me at number 4 is probably the best movie with Wolverine in it, in my opinion, and it's Logan. I love this film so much. Such a great, I don't want to say watered down, I think more stripped down, bare bones, gritty telling of a much older Wolverine. Patrick Stewart as Charles, brilliant. Stephen Merchant as Caliban, I absolutely enjoyed too. Great to see Richard E. Grant in this film too. He pops up not long enough in movies nowadays, in my opinion. Such an underrated actor. Absolutely love that guy. Absolutely love Logan. Named my dog after it, after this movie. Just really had a good time with it. Absolutely brilliant Marvel film too. So good. Great to see it get the 15 rating as well. Doesn't hold back on the violence. Just absolutely brilliant, and love Logan so much. Aesthetically as well, superb. Looks absolutely stunning. Right, so my next pick at number 3 is James Franco's The Disaster Artist. Based obviously about the making on Tommy Wiseau's The Room, which of course is an absolutely terrible film. I believe that after watching this, Tommy Wiseau said that this movie was 99.9% accurate to what actually went on, and that the only thing he didn't really like was the lighting. Okay. This film's absolutely brilliant, starring James and Dave Franco, Greg Sestero, and Tommy Wiseau. Pretty much just two actors who were you know what, fuck it, let's just make our own movie. And hats off to them, they absolutely did. But you find out that Tommy Wiseau is this absolutely mysterious as hell character. We've got no idea where he's from, where he gets his money from. Just so unsettling to think that this guy is. So is he playing a character, or is he being himself? Pretty much. But yeah, had an absolute blast with The Disaster Artist. One of the best films to be a movie about the making of a movie, in my opinion. Just enjoyed the hell out of it. Thought it was absolutely brilliant. Right, so coming up next for me at number 2 is Wind River. I absolutely thought this film was brilliant. Bit of a slow burn to start with, to be honest with you. But when this movie got going, my word, does it get going. I was pleasantly surprised about this. Great performances in this too, from Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner. I dug the hell out of this film so much. I just had an absolute blast with it. Such a gritty film. Written, of course, by the same writer as Hell or High Water. It sort of follows these two officers who, well, this officer played by Elizabeth Olsen, who's pretty much tracking down the murder of this girl in Alaska. And what we uncover was just absolutely harrowing and absolutely horrible. There's a transitional shot in this movie I absolutely love, where Elizabeth Olsen's knocking on the door of this trailer, and then the trailer door opens, and then it cuts to what actually happened in this horrific murder, and we then get a clear picture of what went on, and it was just absolutely horrific. But the movie is absolutely brilliant, and I fully recommend Wind River. I think it's so underrated. Check it out. Pretty much, I think everyone who I know who's seen it has not had a bad word to say about it, and I absolutely agree. I loved it so much. Great performances in it too. So yeah, check this one out. Won't regret it. Right, so that leads me to my number 1 pick. And I thought this movie should have won Best Picture, in my opinion. It's got such powerhouse performances in it too. And it's 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I had such a good time with this film. I loved everyone in it. Sam Rockwell, of course, taking home Best Supporting Actor. Just this absolutely despicable racist cop. Frances McDormand winning a 2nd Oscar. Just brilliant. So good. Woody Harrelson as well as this, the chief of police, sort of following the rape and murder of Frances McDormand's daughter, and how pretty much that she's not been too happy with the police work and the lack of response that there's been. There's been no arrests involving the crime. So she pretty much puts up this advert on these 3 billboards to basically try and get a response, to try and get the ball rolling in some way, as it were. But my favourite scene in this movie, I absolutely love it, is where Woody Harrelson's sitting down having dinner with his family, and the phone goes, and it's Sam Rockwell, and he's like, "You goddamn asshole, ringing me during my Easter dinner." And he just looks at his kids, he's like, "Sorry, kids." It had me laughing so much. Such a good film. Peter Dinklage in there as well. Absolutely fantastic. I love this film so much. Just a great drama movie with some standout blasting performances that I absolutely loved, and a great story with it too. Ends on this sort of ambiguous ending, which I absolutely loved. It did leave me wanting more, so much to find out what was going to happen. But yeah, this movie is just stunning and brilliant in every way. Story, acting, direction, superb. Absolutely love it. So yeah, those are my top 30 favourite movies from the year 2017. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you're new, please think about hitting the subscribe button. And I'll leave it there. Let me know down below some of your favourite movies from 2017. And I'll just say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe and take care. I'll see you soon.